Hello, hello. We're back. We did an upper body day, upper day. Got a little bit of some upper body posing in just for the fun because I don't remember if I posed for on lower body day. So we did some upper body stuff and it looked. I am slowly looking a little crazy, dude. Like, I ain't even lying. I am looking a little crazy, a little insane. Like, vascularity going crazy today. So, there you go, fixed it. Looking pretty good actually. Like, I have a long way to go, but I look pretty good. Like, I'm not trying to hype myself up or glaze myself, but I'm not looking too bad. Now, my lats still need a lot of work. My shoulders look damn good. My biceps and triceps are pretty decent. My chest needs some work as well. So that's the main goals, is like get a little more activation, get a bigger chest, get a lot more niceties. Now, am I doing everything right? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. We won't know until another year. God damn. that was a hole in my lip. So I just went absolutely nowhere. But I'm slowly looking better. That's the goal. Is every single milligram to gram I put on a muscle has to be acquired. So that means eating food, being in a small calorie surplus, getting my protein goals, getting the minimum amount of 0.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. So that's all that matters. If I don't get that, it'll be harder for me to grow, but I'll grow. It'll just be a little difficulty. But that is the goal, is we just keep pushing, we keep looking crazier and crazier. So my goal is to reach a certain kind of weight at a certain body fat with a certain amount of muscle. So we're gonna have to reach it. We're getting close. Like, I am a little leaner than what I was starting at this weight, but I'm about the same weight. I'm not in first. Anyways, I think I got it. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, so that is the goal. Is to have this body composition. Now, body weight is cool and all. Like, it's amazing and everything. That, like, I'm hitting this amazing, like, detail. Just amazing size, all this stuff. But if I don't reach the body weight goal and I don't reach the fat percentage goal, it's going to just take longer and it's going to be a lot more headache. Now, let's say I hit the body weight goal, but not the fat percentage. That's okay. I can do a body recomp, or I can do a mini cut. But let's say I continue to get leaner, but I stay at the same body fat, at the same body weight. That's cool. It's actually really good. But what I'm going to tell you right now is that means I put on a decent amount of muscle. That's great. That means my body composition got better. And that also means that my goal is way more feasible. Like, it is way more feasible to reach my goal. Because if I just, didn't reach the goal, didn't hit it, that sucks. But hey, we've got more years to go. I will just keep adding on years until I reach my body weight and my body fat goal. Because that just means I don't have the best genetics for putting on the muscle that I would like. It's okay. It means more time, more energy, extra work. That's okay. But that just means longer term goal. It means what is my short term goal? Because my long term goal right now is like 170. Good long term goal. It's about 20. That's about 20 pounds of just pure body weight that I want to put on. Now, there's a crazy amount of weight, yes. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is a crazy amount of weight to think about. But am I gonna do it? It's gonna take long, long time, most likely. Because I'm not as much of a newbie anymore. I can't just put on 10 pounds in a year like I did. I can't do it. But what I can do is slowly put on way more strength. And the more strength you put on, the more likely you will be bigger. So I'm going to try and keep my rep range, because I like it, around, I think, 6. I think I've been hitting like 5 to 8 right now. So I'm going to keep it. Keep around 5 to 8. Now, if I go above it, cool. If I go under it, maybe I should lower the weight. It's got to think about it, because you have to stay consistent. If you don't, you're not going to reach the goal you have. You're just going to plateau. Because you're going to keep chasing weight instead of reps, and then you're going to just not do proper. But if you start chasing just the reps, you're going to start breaking down form, and then at some point, you're going to injure yourself. That is the predicament that most people find themselves in. That's why a lot of science-based lifters will be like, oh, I train specifics. You can't have your form breakdown. It's bad. Body English has been shown, if you do a bit of it, not a ton of it, you will be fine. If it's your last few reps, like you hit your rep goal, but you feel like you could go a little more, a little bit of Body English isn't too bad. I understand it's hard to study Body English because everyone who does Body English, cheat reps, as most people would call them, they're different every time. Because when you're trying to get an extra bicep curl and it's a standing thing, some people like to hop on their tippy toes, then control the weight down. A lot of people, when they do Body English or cheat reps, they lose complete control on their eccentric and concentric. So like they cheat the way up and then just let it fall. Cheat the way up, let it fall. If you're going to do cheat reps, and I do them because I like doing cheat reps, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I just like doing them. You cheat your way up and then control. Cheat your way up, control. Because if you are getting that small amount of eccentrics, it has been proven to be shown in scientific studies that the eccentric is just as important as a full rep. So the bottom 2/3 of your rep is just as important as doing a full rep. So, why don't we just be sure to continue to read studies, try and use them in the real world, see what they do with actual lifters, like not newbies, not people who are in a scientific study. take the study out into the real world, see how it works. If it doesn't work for you, good. Does not matter. That means you're not part of that bell curve that they were trying to think of. Because their bell curve, their sample size is so small that it can't actually be as useful to the majority population as people think. I'm sorry. But most studies that are on the weightlifting community, their sample size is of 25 people at most. They took 25 people, made them do this shit for a minimum of a month, and then they looked at this and went, okay, well, if these 25 people grew from doing long length partials, and this group grew from doing full range, and the people who did the long length partials grew more than the people who did full range, what about complete outliers? You have 25 people. How are you going to not skew the study with how little people you have? Okay, most studies that are done on a drug, a vaccine, a new scientific breakthrough are all done on a minimum of 100 people. Do you understand how much bigger that is? You are grabbing a quarter of that many people, throwing them in a study, and thinking that will accurately test the complete population. It will not. Reason we use a sample size of 100 minimum most of the time with studies like with drug use, new scientific studies, experimental drugs, all this stuff is because 100 people, you can extrapolate that data and actually see what's going on. With a quarter of that, you will find more and more outliers or less outliers because you have so little people that on a genuine point, you actually might accidentally skew the study so far in between or so far away from the actual general population that it's almost unusable. That is my problem with the studies on testosterone. That is my problem because they're not peer reviewed. That's the biggest problem I have with most of these testosterone studies. These steroids is they actually use a very small sample size and they don't have people peer reviewing them because there's such unneeded, unrequired studies that to a certain point they're not as useful is what most scientists will believe. Yes, it doesn't matter, man. Fuck it. Yes, studies are going to be hard to get peer reviewed because there's so many studies going on at all times. It's hard to figure out. Cool. This is why we need more and more people who are publishing studies, doing studies on their own, grabbing more and more people that they can actually study. Because the more studies we have, the more likely they're going to get peer reviewed, the more likely they're going to actually be useful to the majority population. And that's the biggest thing about most sports science studies. A lot of these studies are very kind of boring. They're not actually helpful. There's a study on pre-workout and Monster. They took instead of actually using this and testing a human being, they took a muscle cell and dumped pre-workout it, dumped Monster on it, dumped all this other shit on it, and they saw, oh well, the muscle cell is shrinking, so that most likely happens to the human body. So cool. Most of these studies actually are done to keep their grants. That's why actually most of these studies happen, because they're quick and easy studies you can do. That's why most of these studies get published. Is because when they're done by a school like Harvard, you need a grant to continue your research. So without like publishing your research too quickly with not enough data and not enough actual like understanding, most of them will just get out a bogus study, make it easy, publish it because it's easy. That's the problem. Is they need funding. They need money. So they can't actually do a lot of year-long studies without pumping out some like studies in the middle that are kind of useless to the majority of the population. So when you read a study, I'm going to tell you, everybody who's science-based, not to read a study, read it properly, and also try and understand why this study was made. That's the biggest thing. Because why did they make this study? Was it because they needed funding? Maybe. Was this study actually something they sat there for about a year and a half to 2 years of actually researching, sitting there going through it, and seeing if it actually was usable? Have a good day, have a good night, see you later.